Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mike with FormAWin. Today we have Alexa here. She's an intern. She does lots of stuff at school. I can't wait to give this interview. Alexa, thank you for joining us. Let's get into it.
FormAWin for over 4 months
Part
now.
of the FormAWin community for a couple months now.
I just got my first internship.
Just landed my first internship.
Biggest thing I want you guys to do is take one thing away from today and make sure you implement it in your life.
100% directly resulted in me getting an internship offer.
Alexa, thank you so much for joining. Why don't you go on ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and just start from there. Thank you so much.
So currently, I'm a rising junior at Penn State University Park. On campus, I'm involved with IEEE, which is the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. And I'm also going to be starting a new position as a career envoy, which just means I'll be supporting students within the College of Engineering with their career goals and professional goals, as well as resume reviews, mock interviews, things in that nature. Also, I don't think I mentioned I am studying electrical engineering. I'm currently an intern at Entrust Solutions Group, which is a utility consulting company. I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Um, so yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, that's an awesome background and that's a lot for everybody. And like, and then for everyone watching and taking notes too, right? I mean, we have an awesome star here. So make sure you're listening things down, kind of thinking where you're at in your career journey, where you can kind of improve things, kind of dissect where she was at, where you're at, and then try to find a trajectory towards there. Feel free to reach out to her as well. I'll drop her LinkedIn down in the description. Feel free to reach out to us at FormAWin as well. But kind of background as well for you is going to be like, how did you start getting into engineering?
So I've always leaned towards math and science. I feel like that's a lot of people's pathways. But throughout high school, just schooling in general, I had some really cool opportunities. In addition, I have a significant age gap between my siblings. I have an older sister who is 15 and a half year difference. My brother is 10 years. I have another sister at 7 years. So this big age difference might seem like really crazy to some people, but for me, it was crucial to like my development in becoming an engineer. My parents, my dad was a lawyer, my mom is an accountant, and you would think we would probably go towards the business side. However, my oldest sister first got into teaching, then now she's working at NC State supporting their engineering faculty. My brother is at a startup in DC, and my other sister is, I believe, courting, I want to say, working as a project engineer. So seeing some of their experiences growing up definitely showed me a career pathway and that how diverse it is as well. So back talking about my schooling opportunities. So middle school is when I first really got into engineering. My brother had just got his first internship. And I thought coding, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I pursued it by going into camps and taking engineering classes. Well, then I found out coding is not for me. I don't really have the patience, or I can't really sit there on my computer all day. Um, so then I started looking at other engineering. Then I fell in love with biomedical engineering. I was like, oh, this is going to be for me. I love that it helps people. So then going into my senior year, we had a program that we were able to like shadow and work with companies to kind of figure out what we wanted to major in. So I had a family friend that had a biomedical startup. They make sleep apnea masks. So there I was able to shadow, see the marketing side, how it's a smaller business. So I got to see a lot of the inner workings, even read over a clinical trial, interact with different doctors, as well as talk more about like what it means for something to be recalled. But before this, I also continued this in my senior year, but my going into my junior year of high school, I had a really unique opportunity to pursue soldering and things like that nature through a non-destructive testing company called Test Tech. I got that opportunity as well through a family friend. I grew up playing with their daughters, playing softball. So I utilized that connection to get a lot more experience, and then was there for a few years. So then I was able to work on more control boards and motherboards. And that's how I ultimately ended up with electrical engineering.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, you've had a great background. I mean, that's definitely a lot going on for sure. So, I mean, again, for everybody watching too, I mean, no matter what your background was, I mean, for her, it was a lot of engineering, lots of different things connecting the dots. But for you, I mean, whatever that is, it's still going to correlate in some way, shape, or form. I mean, we were talking a little bit earlier about people skills, and like you're strong in that. I mean, and that's what we focus on with FormAWin as well. So just developing that for, like, again, for everybody watching, it's really important to do that. So, and then Alexa, for you, I mean, we're going to kind of get into your current internship. but now kind of getting there. I mean, again, you've had all these great things going on, but what kind of struggles or like, I mean, was there a struggle phase that you went through from, student to like getting to that first internship or that area in your life?
Yeah, I feel like just being in college studying engineering is a struggle phase. You're going to have your ups and downs. I think my biggest one so far was definitely transitioning from high school to college. High school, I never really had to study much. I could look over my notes night before the test, like not really need much time.
Mhm.
College is a whole different breed.
Yeah.
You need to put the time in. Like, I'm sure if many engineering students know this as well, you need to put the time in. You need to be able to ask for help. And making that adjustment was very difficult for me just because I've always been able to do it by myself. So by kind of adjusting, making adjustments, creating better study habits, and creating almost a schedule really helped me tracking my assignments, things like that. In addition, I feel like a lot of people might relate to this, but imposter syndrome. I felt that a lot, especially getting to college. I was like, why am I doing engineering? These classes are so hard, whatever. Or this professor's really bad. My group really is not working, or stuff like that, where it's like, should I even be here?
Yep.
And coming up, like, yeah, it's, I feel, a very popular thing. And I think overcoming, I still face it. Even when I started my internship, I was like, why am I here? But overcoming that, I feel like it's just trusting your ability. You were selected for a reason, whether that was getting into college, that was getting your internship. You were selected for a specific reason for this opportunity. So I feel like it's really important to remember that in general.
Yeah, and then I mean, specifically for you too. Like, I mean, I think like a lot of the things that you did leading up to that point built some confidence, which kind of eroded that imposter syndrome. So, I mean, like for some of our clients too, right? Like, oftentimes they're looking for an internship, and then it's really that there's not a lot that they're working towards that they feel that there's tangible results for. So
Mhm.
it's really about kind of overcoming that as well, and then realizing like everything you're doing is for a reason, right? Like your life is for a reason. Um, I mean, I guess we just did a video on the channel too, where we kind of go over a few students. Like, let's just say you have student number one that goes to Harvard, and they're vice president of 12 clubs. They did 27 internships, and they got A's, and they did this and that, and then they wound up graduating. They got a job, right? And then student B, went to community college, maybe didn't do anything, but then after they graduate, they wound up getting a job, and it's like the same job. So it's like, just to be clear for everybody, right? No matter what your path is, it's not that there's one right path, one wrong path. It's your path. It's your life. It's your path. So for you, I mean, I think you've done so many awesome things as a result of this place. I really can't wait to see where you go because you're going to do some great things, especially with your
Thank
background.
you.
Um,
Thank you.
so kind of leading towards getting to that first internship, like what was that process like? Did you just apply online? Did you network? Kind of run through some of that.
Yeah, just I mean, Penn State, I think, is known for one of the biggest career fairs in the country. I went to that. There was a specific electrical engineering one I went to. And then there would be like online seminars for a company where they tell you a little bit about like hiring processes and things like that. So my fall really was compact of looking at that. I applied to some internships and I'm getting a lot of no's. I'm getting kind of discouraged. I'm like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, is it me or what is it? So then I don't know if any other colleges have this, but Penn State has a website that it's employers looking to hire Penn State students. So I was on there a lot, just throwing my resume out there, like throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks at that
Yeah.
point. So then I find it my Entrust, and about a week later after I applied, which I was applying to so many, I forgot where I applied, where I didn't apply. I get an email, and at first I'd like double check, did I actually apply to this or is this a scam? Because I was just applying to so many, and I finally got a yes. We would love to talk with you. And so first they set up with they called it a phone screening. It was probably like a maybe 10-minute, 15-minute phone call. Getting like to know me more about my background a little bit, like very, very quick. And then a few days later, I get another email. We would like to set up a formal interview with you. And I was like, okay, awesome. Like things are really moving. And at the time too, I had another company talk, like I think it was, I want to say maybe Collins or Cornet. I can't quite remember. They were talking with me, but they were really dragging out the process compared to how fast Entrust was moving. So I get my interview, typical behavioral questions. I also would recommend anyone prepare for an interview, like write down your accomplishments, all of that, and utilize the STAR method, which is what situation, task, action, result,
Result.
reflection. So like I utilize that as well in my prep notes to keep referring and having questions. ready. So I got my interview. We were talking about what I would be doing. And then probably another week later, I get another email that said, okay, can you give me a quick call? And I'm like, okay. Did I get it? I was a little nervous. I called. She's like, I'm so happy to tell you, you got the job. We look forward to having you. And like, I got my acceptance letter and everything. And that really it felt so good. I felt amazing because I'm like,
Sure.
I've gone so many no's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely taught me about too, like having, no matter how many no's you get, all it takes is that one yes to change everything.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, congrats on that because that was a long
Thank you.
kind of grueling process, especially with the notes too. I mean, I get so many people, and that's only going to like add into the imposter syndrome because then you're like, right. So I mean, I definitely hear you on that. I mean, I went through my fair share. I'm sure everyone relates to that, right? So with that said, kind of going through the internship, I mean, just like the interview stages and stuff, was there a specific point where you felt you overcame something that they asked you, like maybe it was a good question they asked you and you were like, but you gave a good answer, like was there something that you think that you did to set yourself apart?
I'm not necessarily sure about the questions they asked me. I took a lot of pride though in the questions I asked them.
Okay.
I remember when I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No, I said there you go, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I was one of my mom's friends is like a hiring manager, and she told my mom, she's like, yeah, this candidate asked me this like really good question, like, what's your favorite and least favorite part of the job? Because no one's gonna want to be like, why don't you like your job?
Mhm.
So I asked them with that, and I kind of took them off guard, and I think too that might have set me apart. And like I had a lot of questions. So I think stuff like that, like the small things and being prepared, that really can make you a million, even if you don't have the experience. If you make your like you I worked at a what's it called? Oh, a golf course. I was a bar cart girl. And it's like, how can this even be relevant to engineering? Well, you market it, you go off your professional skills. I said I communicated, I networked, which is
Yep.
all true because we had to run a team. I had to interact and sell my stuff.
Yep.
So that if you can turn any scenario, and I think also adding that, turning these maybe not professional jobs into something makes you a lot more valuable candidate and later worker.
I love it. I love it. I mean, like again, just to reiterate, you've had an awesome background, some great people in your life too. But besides that, all these experiences you were able to like utilize to the full extent, and you realize that too because that just transferred directly into the interview. Because I mean, there's so many people that don't put those things on their resume or they don't like, especially just starting out. But those things are super important because those all feed into it, right? Social skills, and I mean, oftentimes I think that a lot of people would hire people if you had to take two people and one of them is super technically proficient, like just Elon Musk something, I don't know, but like but they weren't really social, right? Versus someone who was kind of technical, I mean, they got some growth to do, but they were, if you hired them, they would add value to the team and add value to the culture. Oftentimes they might take that person instead just because, I mean, happy team, happy workplace. And if it's not a happy team, none's getting done. So I love that because you're technically sound and you're net. So like, I mean, that's why they hired you. I love it. So that's really cool. Let's kind of transition into maybe some advice for students. We covered a lot, which is great. And then for everybody watching, just to take a moment, reflect here, right? We talk about interviews, the process, her journey. Again, reflect on yourself, take some notes, rewatch this if you need to. But now, Alexa, kind of going into some advice for students, maybe outside of what we talked about, maybe on how to find their next role or just anything else as
Yeah.
well.
I think my biggest thing is network, reach out to people. I know it can be so intimidating. Personally, for me this summer, I think I ended up counting almost 40 individuals, and I'm 100% remote right now, and that was also very intimidating. But once I kind of got in a groove, it really helped me, and it honestly helped me learn so much more about the company culture and about different roles and journeys people take because there's a lot of people who are in higher up positions and they have a very non-traditional journey. So I think even though maybe it's not your internship, maybe it's a professor that that they have a little bit of industry experience or they know someone, or even going on LinkedIn and messaging people, connecting with people. In addition, going to career fairs, that is huge. You can really make a really good impact by just showing up. In addition, one thing I learned about the summer was a brag sheet. I think I would definitely be using it for future interviews or anything in that nature where it's all your accomplishments. And that can be something like, I got an A on my test, or it could be a project you worked on, or something else you accomplished. And it will just make yourself more marketable. And I think it will be easier for you to talk about yourself as well.
I love it. I love it. All great pieces of advice. This has been a super compact, awesome video. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll probably do a part 2 at some point in the future once you're in your next role and you're off doing great things as you already are. So again, thank you so much for joining us. And then for everybody watching, thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, etc. Reach out to Alexa, reach out to us, and we'll see you later. Thank you so much again.